Hello, we're looking at the SlySpawn tool. It's been updated recently, and it was a little complicated already, so I figured I'd walk you through everything. It's actually not super complicated, but we'll go through everything's in the description here, but we'll just go through each option individually and kind of see what they all do. Keep in mind this is really just for putting out entities so that you can see them and they can be easily documented for Wikipedia. Position and rotation are the first ones. Positioning determines where everything's going to be arranged from, like the spawning center point. By default, it's set to X0 and Z0 and Y1, so Y is lifted off the ground by 1. If you keep X and Z at 0, everything will stay in the center and you can adjust Y to change where it is off the ground. Rotation for things like paintings and stuff. If you do like -90 on the X-axis, that will kind of pitch the painting. So sometimes when things spawn in, they're facing vertically. You can lay them down doing something like that. Arrangement settings. You have padding here, an auto, and a center. Padding is the distance between each item. Auto will make sure that there's distance between everything automatically. By default, this is on, and it will override the arrangement padding. If it's off, it'll strictly go by arrangement padding. Center will do a local offset per entity once it's spawned to make sure that it's centered in its little box between every other item. We'll take a closer look at that kind of stuff. Next up, we have filtering. There's two types of filtering, really. There's the normal filtering, and then there's post-spawn filtering. Filtering happens at the entity type level, and post-spawn happens after an entity has been spawned. This is a technical limitation. Once something's spawned, we get access to all of its properties, so we can check its class, if it's interactable or pickable. This could in the future have something like tradable, but right now tradable can't be accessed by custom tools. You know, talk to somebody, I guess, see if they can add it in, and then I can add it in. But filtering is super fast, post-spawn filtering less so fast. It also kind of comes with a warning that I've listed here. Basically, if you want to get everything within an entity's class, you can do so by not filtering anything and just doing a post-spawn filter by class. But that requires that at some point the script has spawned every single entity. It is doable, the performance is good enough, but it can cause some buggy behavior when you do undo, redo, or cancel it. Pretty much if you see every entity start to pop up, be ready to quit and make sure you save before you do something like that. But let's go ahead and do some demos here. By default, it'll start off with some pants, so we'll go ahead and run that. So it spawned these in here, and you'll see at the top it says enter to confirm, escape to cancel, and it says the same thing here, and it says how many entities were spawned and how long it took it to do it. We can go ahead and cancel. Now, like shirts, for example, here, we don't get anything because nothing is named shirts. We can do shirt, and we'll get anything that does have shirt in its type name. But this isn't always ideal. If you just want something like the top part of a cover, that's where the class filtering would be on. So like armor, for example. We could do all the armors. Well, that didn't work because I still had shirt in there, so let me remove that and we'll play it. This is an example of it actually spawning everything and filtering out by the class type. So it takes a little while to do that because it is going through all the entities and only keeping the ones that we're interested in. But it doesn't take too long, and the first time you run it, will kind of enable every subsequent run to be a little bit faster. So you can see we got every armor not limited to shirts, since none of them actually have shirt in the name. But you could, for example, limit this to pants. So all the armor pants we could do. We're going to remove the class filter here, and we'll take a look at some block stuff. So there's a couple ways to do blocks. We could do it by class. You'll see there's a block here. But if you're doing it post spawn, that has to spawn in every single thing again. So it's better just to put it in the type here, block. And this doesn't care if it's uppercase or lowercase. So we'll go ahead and do block with steel. So it should give us every steel block that you can see here. And we'll play around with some arrangements real quick. So if auto was off, we'll get just the 1-to-1 padding on the X and Z plane. So you can see that here. That's why auto's turned on by default, but if you wanted to have specific steps between the objects because you know kind of their sizing, you can do that. But we're going to keep it on, and you'll see that the beams here kind of poke out through their boxes. This is where the arrangement centering comes in. So this will create a local offset and make sure that everything's centered relative to where it is. And this works for rotation too. So if we stand these on their end, so I've rotated on the x-axis, so I've pitched them up 90 degrees. So those beams will be pointing up to the sky and down to the ground. You'll see the centering takes in that rotation into account. Likewise, the automatic arrangement padding does the same thing. It's using the dimensions based off of how it's rotated. So we can have a little bit of fun here. If we do match by any terms, we get all blocks and all steel objects. So this is where you can kind of mix and match stuff. Likewise, we can have some fun not filtering anything. So we can say, hey, give me all the pickable items. This is probably going to be a lot of stuff. So we'll just kind of wait a little bit. Actually, I'll bring you back when it's done. Okay, it's just about to be complete. And yeah, it took 70 seconds about, and we got 2,843 objects that are all pickable. We can hit enter to confirm that, and now we have them all here. So let's see if we can't undo that real quick. Cool. Sometimes that, based off this warning, sometimes it messes up very badly. We'll set pickable back to ignore. And we can filter a class. We could go for something like fishes. Actually, alien's a good one. So we're gonna go through them all again, get our alien stuff. Bring the camera back to center. And we have them there. Looks a bit better if we get rid of the rotation. But yeah, you can see alien creatures came in here too. So if we're interested in stuff that only the player can pick up, we could change pickable back to true instead of ignore. And there we go. Now, if we wanted to see what was tradable, let me bring in artwork or something. we'll just get all the art. Like I said, Tradeable's not supported by custom scripts right now, but I do have a blueprint that will spawn a script in here, and we can click on test to go see, and it will do its own filter to check for tradability. So let me do that now. So there's filter tradable. This is on the workshop. Here's the details for it. It has a minimum price of 100. I'm happy to give it away for free. Just DM me on Discord and I'll send it over to you. But if we take that and place it down, we're gonna need a spawn point as well. What you need to do is select everything in here, minus the scripts, and we want to add a label to it, and that's going to be part of the filter tradable. So I'll click on that, click filter these guys. Now they're being filtered, and if you click on it again, it has its own custom parameters here. So it'll let you fly around, and that's your speed. That's 500% by default. Ignore zero cost. So if we click that, anything that is tradable that doesn't have an actual value to it will be ignored. And we can redo arrangement if we want. If this isn't selected, it'll just delete things from here. We can go ahead and test now. So it said it, if you look at the bottom left, it deleted 42 non-tradable entities. And if we look at something, it'll give us the name and the item value. So yeah, I think that's pretty much it. Feel free to reach out on Discord. Let me know if you have any questions. Thanks.